This is a demonstration on how to sew on a button. You need a piece of thread about the length of your wrist to your elbow, and you will thread that into the eye of a hand needle. And I like to double up my thread. So once I thread it through the eye of the needle, I bring it all the way down, and then I tie a sewing knot where you can just do a little loop and a twist of the tails underneath. At the end of your sewing thread. You will place the button on the X that you have marked on your pattern piece. You will come up from behind the button into one of the holes on your button, and you will pull until that knot catches on the back, and then you will go down into the other button. I like to do mine always diagonal, all right? And then you're gonna run it up again through that hole and down again. I do that 3 to 4 times depending on what button I'm using it for. And then you will come up, if your button has 4 holes, the other, and go diagonal down. If your button has 2 holes, you would just do this several times in those 2 holes that they have on there. I'm going to come up one more time in that bottom right hole and go back down. And then I am going to come up one more time, but I'm not going to go all the way through that hole. I'm going to bring the needle in between the fabric and the button, and then I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to wrap my thread 2 or 3 times around the button that is in between the fabric. That is so that there's a little bit of space for me to wrap my fabric through my buttonhole and onto whatever clothing item or decorative item I'm sewing it to. All right, and then when you have that wrapped around 3 or 4 times, you would then go back through the fabric and the button onto the back of the fabric, and this is where I will tie it off. And what I like to do is run it one more time underneath these threads in the back, and since you have doubled up on your fabric, you can simply cut that fabric, and I just tie 2 little knots, and then I trim my threads. And my fingers are so large, I apologize. This is probably in your way, but you tie 2 knots, and then you can just trim your thread as close. And I trim my beginning threads as well. And that is what the back of my button looks like, and this is what the front looks like. KP out.